How to unclog your arteries. Hello and welcome. If you are here, you are probably worried about your cholesterol or the state of your arteries. The reason why cholesterol is so important to watch out for is because it will then impact your arteries. Because if your arteries are clogged up by cholesterol, then less blood will be able to flow to your heart, and then you can have heart problems, and we don't want that. So we're going to talk about the foods that you can eat in order to help unclog those arteries. And before we do that, let's talk about what cholesterol actually is, so we're all on the same page. The thing with cholesterol is that it has a bad reputation, but cholesterol is actually super important in your body. The thing is that there are two types of cholesterol. There's LDL, which is the unhealthy cholesterol, and then there's HDL, which is the healthy cholesterol. Cholesterol will help build your hormones and make vitamin D, and also help you digest like really fatty foods. It will secrete bile acids. So a little bit of cholesterol is good, you need that. But the thing is that LDL, if you have too much of it, it will build up and it will stick to your arteries and clog your arteries. And probably you've heard of this image before, but if you think of like a hose and you imagine yourself like squeezing the hose, then the water is not going to be able to come out of it as well. And that's what happens when you have cholesterol building up in your arteries, kind of squeezing your arteries so that the blood cannot get through as well anymore. And then you have HDL cholesterol, which will help get rid of that cholesterol, like bring it back to the liver so your arteries are all better. And that is why you really need to be focusing on increasing your HDL cholesterol and lowering your LDL. And the thing about cholesterol is that your body produces most of it, and if you eat foods that are like really high in cholesterol, that doesn't necessarily mean that your overall cholesterol is going to increase, because your body can regulate that. And the opposite is true as well. Just because you eat low cholesterol foods doesn't mean that you're gonna have low cholesterol, because your body is gonna regulate that. But there are still ways that you can eat in order to get rid of that cholesterol, and let's talk about it now. The first thing you want to be eating more of to help reduce your cholesterol is fiber. Fiber is literally the nutrient of nutrients because it helps with everything, literally everything. The thing is that soluble fiber specifically is going to bind to bile acids, and bile acids contain cholesterol. And then the fiber will kind of like eliminate these bile acids, and so your body is going to need to produce more. So it's going to come take the cholesterol that is in your blood and take that cholesterol to make more bile acids. So it's going to be using it up, and then that cholesterol is no longer free to clog up your arteries. Obviously, I'm really simplifying this, but if you want to research more in detail, I'm going to put some sources in the description. Then insoluble fiber as well is going to play a role, because it's going to help regulate cholesterol by slowing down your digestion. So the best fiber-rich foods you need to be eating: whole grains in general, but specifically for cholesterol, oats. Eat oatmeal every day to lower your cholesterol. You need to be eating beans, all types of beans, and lentils as well. Seeds are very helpful as well, especially chia seeds and flax seeds. And then a bunch of fruit and vegetables. You don't really need to be worried about the different types of fiber. If you just eat a variety of different fruit and vegetables, you're going to be getting all the fiber you need. The second type of food you need to be eating to unclog your arteries, it may surprise you, but it's actually healthy fats. A lot of people try to steer clear of fats when they're trying to lower your cholesterol. However, if you're eating the right types of fat, it will actually help increase your HDL cholesterol while reducing your LDL, so double win. So the type of fat that you do want, the healthy fat, is going to be the monounsaturated fat. You will find that in olives or olive oil, avocados, and nuts and seeds, and they will really help increase your HDL and lower your LDL. And some of these fats, for instance, olive oil, do have polyphenols in them, which will help prevent the oxidation of LDL, which is another added bonus. So that was for the monounsaturated fats, and now you have the polyunsaturated fats that can be further divided into omega-3s and omega-6. Now, while both of these are important, it is more important to focus on increasing your omega-3s, because in like the standard American diet, you are already going to be consuming enough omega-6, and if you eat too much omega-6, that can be a little bit more inflammatory. So just focus on increasing your omega-3s, and you can find these in fatty fish and in nuts and seeds, specifically in walnuts and in chia seeds and flax seeds. And then on top of that, some of these foods, for instance avocados and certain nuts, they will contain plant sterols, and these sterols will compete with cholesterol in the gut for absorption. So meaning your gut will have like either it's going to absorb cholesterol or it's going to absorb like this plant sterol, and a lot of the times it's going to be the plant sterol, so that means that your cholesterol isn't getting absorbed, which is good. Now another type of food you really want to be increasing, and this will probably come as no surprise, it's anti-inflammatory foods. The thing about inflammation is that it's going to make the LDL cholesterol more apt to stick to your artery walls. So if you decrease your inflammation, if you eat anti-inflammatory foods, that's going to help prevent that. What you want to be doing in order to eat in a way that is anti-inflammatory is to prioritize whole foods, prioritize whole grains as much as possible instead of refined grains. Make sure that you are eating plenty of legumes, beans, lentils, eating plenty of fruit and veggies, specifically leafy greens and berries. Both of these are super anti-inflammatory. And make sure to add herbs and spices to your meals as well, specifically turmeric, add garlic too, cinnamon, all of them are anti-inflammatory. And then of course the usual, you want to make sure that you're drinking plenty of water. Green tea is also helpful for cholesterol, reducing cholesterol. And another crucial way to unclog your arteries is to lower your consumption of processed foods. Some processed foods. There are certain foods that will increase your LDL cholesterol that you want to try to reduce, and these foods are going to be trans fats as well as added sugars. If there are too many added sugars, it's not going to be good, as well as processed meats. So these are the type of processed foods that you want to limit. Doesn't mean you can never have them, you just want to try to limit them a little bit. So anything that is going to be deep fried, you want to avoid, because that's where the trans fat is going to come in, and that's not really good for your cholesterol. You also want to be mindful of your packaged treat consumption, like cookies or cakes, pastries that you're going to find prepackaged. A lot of them will have hydrogenated oils that can cause the plaque to build up inside your arteries. And then anything with a bunch of added sugar, like really sugary sodas, really sugary cereal or treats. Because while sugar is necessary and you shouldn't be afraid of it, if you're eating too much sugar, then your body is going to need to create too much insulin in order to get that sugar inside your cells. And if you're creating a lot of insulin, that's also going to increase the production of cholesterol. And then any type of processed meats like bacon or deli meats or sausages, hot dogs, things like that, you want to avoid because they contain a bunch of preservatives that are going to just trigger inflammation and plaque buildup. And then one more little bonus food I wanted to add. I guess this kind of goes in the nut category, but I really wanted to talk about this one specifically because a few studies show that this one nut specifically can help reduce your cholesterol and like reduce your LDL, increase your HDL, and just be very beneficial for your heart health, and that food is Brazil nuts. So maybe try adding 1 or 2 Brazil nuts a day, like don't go overboard or anything. They have selenium in them, they have both omega-3s and monounsaturated fats, and they're just an easy way to support your heart health. And of course there are other things that matter beyond the way that you eat in order to manage your heart health. And sleep is a very important one because your hormones all get regulated while you sleep, and it's been shown that if you do not sleep enough or your sleep is of poor quality, then that will cause an increase in LDL cholesterol. Stress is another huge one because if you are stressed, then you are going to be producing cortisol, and so if you're stressed constantly, you're producing cortisol constantly, and therefore the cortisol is signaling to your liver to produce more cholesterol, and that's not great. So if you're able to work on techniques to manage your stress, even better, get rid of the stressor if that's possible, then that will be helpful for your heart health. And of course, moving your body is another great way to increase your HDL cholesterol and promote using your LDL cholesterol. So make sure that you find an activity that you enjoy and that you can actually stick to, and that will be very helpful. So that's it for this video. I hope you got a few tips to help you unclog your arteries, and know that it's never too late. You can, even if you've been eating unhealthy, you can reverse this if you start eating healthier and listen to the tips I talked about. So I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to like it and subscribe, and see you on my next one. Bye!